Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 579. My name is John Morgan, and Cole Covey is with me. Sometimes we come to you a little late in the week. Sometimes we come to you a little early in the week, and that's what we're doing today. It's here together on a Wednesday afternoon for the first time in a long time, and having a frosty beverage while we do it. This is like old school here.
Old school.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Delicious Pacifico. I don't think Pacifico gets enough love. Like,
I agree.
You know, like
underrated.
I wouldn't call it like, I could see where somebody's like, oh, it's like a Corona. I don't think it's like a Corona. I think it has more full body than a Corona.
Yep.
But like when I go up to like the Broadacres, the little like the Hispanic marketplace out there, they have Pacifico, Modelo, and then something else is like the choices.
Yeah.
I always go Pacifico.
I
think it's just this and like the Clamato or whatever shit they put in there for the Michelada. It's just bomb. But yeah, and it comes in this happy yellow can. It's like sunlight in a can.
Look at the review, bro. Look, you are an expert now. That was, I mean, you talked about the full body, the robustness of the flavor.
I mean, it's like we would accept a sponsorship from said Pacifico company. I mean,
sir.
Gladly.
If we had a frosty beverage sponsor, I mean, like literally, you could just deliver us product, and we would get value out of that. That would make a huge impact to my monthly budget.
This right now would, yes, it would. This right now would be a top of the list at frostybeverages.com.
I love it.
Yes,
I love it. Well, listen, we are getting together a little bit early because I am flying tonight to Atlantic City for CFFC NextGen 3 this weekend on Saturday. So, you know, it's been a little bit difficult sometimes when I'm on the road. So we said, you know what? There's not a media day today that you have to attend.
That is true.
There's not even a media day going on right now because sometimes even if it's not media day, you're working remote and you're helping out and you're getting things done. We don't even have that because of the Australian time zone, all that. We'll talk about UFC Perth here in a little bit. But it just made sense to get together. Oh, that's not the C word you wanted to use right there.
It isn't. I kept it clean.
I know you like to throw that out anytime you can. But we have to actually be there on the soil. Just because someone is there doesn't mean you can just throw it out there. We have to actually be there before you can drop that C-bomb.
Yeah, because then everybody's like, well, that's random. You're like, well, no, brother. Trust me. It's normal.
Oh, man. Too good. All right, we'll talk about UFC Perth. I got to see something cool today, man. On my way over here. I was at a place, and I'll give the name of the business. It's called Larger Than Life, Inc. This is the company that makes the UFC canvases. So I actually got to walk through their warehouse and was talking to them about potentially purchasing a canvas from them because we have an outdoor event on May 29th, and so we need something that's a little bit more absorbent than the typical canvas that we use. So we wanted to go talk to them about their option. Pretty cool, man. I was in their warehouse. It's right behind the Orleans area. Over in that area is where their shop is.
Nice.
And they had two different canvases laid out. They were producing for each of the next 2 weeks. And basically, man, those things everything's hand painted. Wow. Everything on those canvases. So they print out like it's almost like I likened it to like screen printing a T-shirt, right? Yeah. Where you put like different layers for each color.
I guess it'd be tough to have a screen printer that big.
Exactly. So they do have a big what they did, and I don't think I'm giving away like trade secrets here or anything, but just seeing the process, they do print out like some pieces, I guess, that they use as what do you call that? I'm missing the word. Where it's the
template,
like a template, basically, right?
Something like trace it or something.
Exactly. So then they lay that out, and then they hand paint like the different colors and stuff on it. But it was pretty cool. So I got to see the UFC 328 canvas being put together. So I got a little sneak preview of it, and I was talking about a schedule. He's like, man, they keep us busy. He's like, we got the big White House canvas coming up.
Holy
and
cow,
all that
good
stuff.
For them.
Yeah, so
I'm glad they're doing it with a local company too. Something you can clarify. Something I saw on the social media the other day, and there's something I never really thought about it, but I know you buy your family's name on occasion for a canvas.
I've done it twice.
So I saw a post the other day, and somebody was like, oh, look, it's got a fighter's name. This is how they're paying for fighters now, or the fighters, whatever. Do they always put all the fighters of every card on there, or only if there's space allowing?
I think only if there's space allowing. I haven't asked that. I've noticed that as well. I did see a little social media conversation. This event was not the first one, because you can imagine, like, the pay-per-views, I'm sure they sell out the inventory pretty quick. But the random fight nights, I don't think they do. So I don't think that that's a compensation. I think it's just a courtesy. And
just as a courtesy.
They have the space. What I don't know, and you know what, I probably need to ask the fighters, do they just put their name on there, or do they actually give them the full presentation? So I've done it twice. I did it for UFC 300. I put my son's name on the canvas. And then the Sphere show, which was Mexican Independence Day, I put my wife's name on the canvas because obviously she was born and raised in Mexico, and I thought it'd be cool to be like that event plus Vegas, the Sphere, all that. I will say the product they give you, it varies depending on what event you want to do. I think I want to say $600 to $700, so it's not cheap by any stretch.
Yeah.
It's a special presentation for sure. But they give you something pretty cool because they send it to you. They cut obviously that little section out and they embed that. Then they'll also have like a little plaque that lists like some of the big fights that were on there. You know who's there, and then you'll have a really nice photo. Like for the Sphere show, it was a wide shot of the whole venue when it had like I think it was the Day of the Dead. That part of the show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a big wide shot of the whole venue with the big deal. The UFC 300 one was actually action shot, so you get to see like Gaethje and Holloway, and so they did that. So it's a little, it's a little
especially
different.
If you could see that section of the mat in it, is even better.
It would be really cool if they did it. So they customize everything, and so it's a little bit different for each one. I actually want to do it for I haven't done it for myself yet. I've done it for my wife, my kid. I actually want to do it for the White House event. I have not seen it for sale yet, but I do want to do it just because, again, historic, once in a lifetime thing. You know what I mean? To have it. It's funny because my wife's actually got. And it was cool because she was like, awesome. Because it came and it had like blood splatter on her section of it. So she's like, I wanted there to be some blood on it. Like
that's fun.
That's the savage that she is.
Yeah, she's built a little bit differently. But yeah, I just wondered about that because I'd never really thought about. But it does make sense that if they don't fill it up, just as courtesy to put their names on it. But it would be neat if they did actually present the fighters with those after the fact, as opposed to, granted, there's a cost involved with them because it does come in a nice little case, a little frame or whatever. So there would be an added plus that gets them, but that would be interesting to see if they're awarded that after the fact. But
I would hope they do because again, now it's shipping cost and it's a really nice framed presentation they put together. But it's one thing to just put your name on there, but then to actually have, to get that
as a nice reminder of the night as well for them.
I'm sure if you lost that night, maybe it wouldn't be as great of a reminder.
You never know. But again, say they got cut after that. I guess it'd be a little bit of both. Because it still signifies when they did fight there that they were there.
Yeah.
And then it could be a token. Yeah, this was my last fight.
It'd probably be bitter at first, but then you still, hey man, because again, you made it to the highest level of the sport.
Yeah, but there's no shame that you lost, but you did what not even 1% of the population is able to do.
That's it.
So
I did see, I believe, because I noticed it last week too. I think Jackson McVeigh, basically essentially where he submitted Cedricus Dumas, like his name was right. So it was like,
I think that's what people told me.
It was like the frame too. Like how cool is that? Like you get you knock him down, you tap him out, and you're standing on the spot where your name is right there. Like how cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It is a nice present. Like I said, it's not cheap, but if anybody's ever thought about, hey, I might want to do that, it'd be a cool gift, or I want to do it for myself, I will say I've done it twice, and both times really, really nice product.
Yeah, especially if it's somebody that likes the thing. That, it's kind of like one of those. What do you get for somebody that already figure has something? But if they're diehard for the sport, this is definitely a win-win.
Yeah.
So we'll take the commission for any sales that come from this.
Yeah. You know what? Let us know. We'll give you a small markup on it. Just a small mark. But I've done. I know the ordering process. I can do it for you. We'll just take it off your hands, so you don't even have to worry about it. You just send me your address. Let me have your credit card number.
We'll take care of it for you.
I got you.
Take care of it. I like it. Just businesses right off the bat. Let's go.
Yeah, man. We're getting new sponsors lined up.
I know. I like
side hustles going over here. We'll place your merch order for you. Oh, man. All right, well, listen, speaking of UFC 328 this week, I do want to speak about UFC Perth as well because there's some great fights happening there, including that main event, which is spectacular. But you already got the UFC 328 coverage kicked off with the Sean Strickland Media Day yesterday. Open workout. You were over at the UFC PI. I was not able to attend live because I was getting ready to head out of town, but I was able to see your fine coverage of the event. Spectacular image, by the way. Coloring was real nice. Lighting was great.
Yeah.
Sound was even good, even though he's kind of moving around a little bit.
Boy, he could not stand still. He was fidgety as all get out. Set his drink behind him, then he kept grabbing his drink. He kept grabbing like at these little visual crutches, and then he was just moving and stuff. And but that's like one of those things. Even when we see him when he is seated when he's seated. A lot of times just with the conversation, he's darting around, he's evading, he's like jumping in these little tangents and then jumping over into something else. It's like literal verbal ADHD. Nothing.
Like I don't know if he technically does have it, but seems like it.
If not, he's probably borderline if he doesn't already.
I'm not saying that as any criticism, but it is true. It just literally goes like multiple different directions at one time.
Yeah, and I mean, just in the way that his brain works, I mean, I think it's so sporadic and it jumps here to here to here. Even when watching him trying to, when he was in the cage, it was almost like he worked out for like 3 minutes and was like, okay, is that enough for you guys? And he's like, hey, Johnny, come on in here. And then like when they'd start to whatever, then it was like a conversation. Then he'd stop to have a conversation with us and blah, 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 blah. It was like, and it still at the end of the day was only like 7 minutes long. And half of it was just him jawing about pretty inappropriate things. But that's just the way. But yeah, he was standing there and he was moving off to the sides. But I think we've seen this about him before, and like a lot of times whereas you got somebody like the Diaz's, where sometimes he was so visually uncomfortable, he just shuts down.
Yep.
He becomes almost like nonverbal and doesn't really respond.
Nick especially more than Nate.
Nick really bad.
Nick especially.
Sean is almost motor mouth in complete opposite of that. Like he'll start talking, but he starts moving, and then he jumps around and doesn't give you a chance to whatever, and his brain goes. And this conversation came up afterwards. You got a guy like Hokit that gets up there and just gets in the character, and you never know what you're going to hear, and it's just never even addresses your question. Sean, you throw a question, he might touch on it, but then he'll use it like as a stepping stone to go somewhere else, whether he means to or not, or if it's just the way that his brain sort of wired that he gets on a tangent, which definitely makes me think if it is like ADD or something like that, you can't blame the dude. That's just the way his brain's wired, that he just goes. But it happens to be stuff that can be very, very extremely inappropriate and just on whatever tangent we're just like, what? Like so many dudes caught strays yesterday out of nowhere. And I was like, how did we even get to that? Like, where did he come from? Like, how did it get to that point? Because the question was about ABC, and somehow XYZ came out of there, and it's just like,
He's a trip. So
he's a trip, though.
Couple things. First of all, I did hear Gorgeous George ask a question there, so nice.
He showed up at the end, and then, like, it's funny because he cut off Vlad. Vlad was trying to ask a question, but he was like, the Russian, and he said something else. I was like, just get to the question.
Yep.
And then then Sean started getting distracted off, and then George.
Vlad never even got the answers?
He eventually at the end did, but then George was right there, and I'm looking at George. I was like, George, I can tell they're going to be wrapping it up soon. I was like, get your question.
Yeah.
So George asked his question, and Vlad's like, I didn't get my question. I was like, bro, you got to stop fucking around. You got to just get to the point, dude. Like,
I was glad to hear George there. I like George and Goes being around, man. They're in town.
Yeah, I wish they'd come to more of those.
I know. I think they should come to more stuff. So it was great to hear him there. So I got that. Here's what I thought about Sean as I was watching the whole thing. Because, again, inappropriate stuff. Obviously, there's going to be some Asian jokes to Helen Yee and some COVID jokes and all that, which always like.
One that wasn't even like an Asian. It was like, get some clothes on. I was like, bro, come on. Like, now you're just addressing. But they have a history, and I think she allows him to say a lot of things. But, yeah, this is not like him attacking her for the first time he sees him. Like, they have a very close, very, very, like, they tease each other to no end.
Exactly.
So, like, I didn't think anything about it, but I could see where somebody would be like, bro, I can't believe you said that.
If you didn't understand the context and the relationships.
Yeah, those two, like, they bust each other's balls all the time.
So here's what I was thinking I was watching. It's interesting because it's very easy from the outside to just be, and I think you nailed it perfectly, right, is that it's very easy to just see Sean Strickland and be like, oh, my God, it's so inappropriate. Like, I can't believe we're doing this. What are we
Yeah.
But what it is, and a lot of stuff he says is kind of ridiculous, but I'll say two things. Number one, I respect the fact that he feels free to say whatever the hell he wants to say, and he knows he'll back it up. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the whole thing, right? It's just, if you're going to say something, just be willing to answer it. Like, if you come back at Sean, or if you say you want to fight Sean, guess what?
He'll fight you.
He'll fight you over it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, there is something kind of free and respectful about that. That, like, I'm just going to say whatever's on my mind, and I'm willing to pay whatever repercussions I need to for what I'm saying, because that's what I'm going to do. So I actually kind of respect it a little bit. The other thing about it, though, is that, and I think a lot of people miss, is that a lot, now not when he's talking about Hamzat Shemaiah, but a lot of the stuff he says is like stuff you would say to your buddies behind closed doors, like busting balls or whatever, like taking shots. But he just does it publicly. You know what I mean? Yeah. He just doesn't. There is no filter on him to be like, hey, this is not the appropriate time or place to be making conversation like this. So, but I don't know. I still, even though it is inappropriate, like I don't know, I don't feel to the point where I'm like, we can't put a microphone in front of this guy. Like I see a lot of people saying that, like why are you guys even interviewing this guy, or why do you let him talk or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't strike me as that. It's definitely ridiculous, but I respect the fact that he just feels free to say whatever he wants, and he knows that if he has to pay for repercussions, he's going to do it.
And especially, I mean, you come from a place where Dana says, "I'm not going to start." I mean, it's a fight game, like. Yes, like when he within like 30 seconds of it starting, he's calling people goat fuckers and other stuff. You're just like, what the fuck, dude? But at the end of the day, it's a sport about fighting, and these two are going to get in front of each other, and they're going to get to punch the shit out of them.
Yep.
You talk a bunch of shit, I get to punch you in your face for it, So it's not like he's hiding behind a keyboard, berating somebody. Like they literally are hyping up a fight that's about to happen.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I felt bad more for the strays that got caught, off to the side out of nowhere. He was jumping on Brandon Allen about stuff. He was jumping on
Oh yeah.
Imavov. I feel like there was a few other ones. Where
Big up in Johnny Evelyn though. Had a lot of love for Johnny Evans. That was cool to see. Johnny Evelyn getting some respect.
Yep, and I mean with good reason. I think anybody that listens to this and that watched it enough realize that he's the caliber of guy that can be in a UFC. But even better that, Strickland bring up the fact that he's making too much money. He's making more money over there. Might as well just stay over there, and
don't know how accurate it is, but if that's the truth, good on him, man.
I mean, from what we all kind of guesstimate, maybe not making as much money as Strickland, especially when for some of the big title fights, but maybe when it was just getting started. But I think most people realize that the PFL was paying some pretty decent contracts to people. And Eblin was their champ.
Yep.
I mean, I have to think that the dude was making pretty darn good money over there.
Agreed.
But, I chatted with him at the end. I was like, because I was asking him, I was like, I've been watching these videos. I was like, you trying to kill Eblin, or you trying to kill Nino with the motorcycle and stuff? And he's like, no, he's actually a good bike rider, but he's a street rider, not like a dirt bike rider. So it was like one of the first time, but not just doing regular dirt bike. And they're going in the fucking ravines and like coming up in the ditches and shit. I'm just like, bro. You both got like fights and other stuff. Well, at least I don't know if Eblin's got one coming up, but you're still an active fighter. And I was just like, but bro, like I saw him wipe out a couple of times. I was just like, oh, at some point, I feel like when does the UFC step in like what they try to do with Cerrone and just be like, bro, you can't do this. You can't do this. No, you can't go dive with sharks. No, we don't want you
not to mention,
doing whatever.
Strickland almost lost his entire career due to a motorcycle accident.
Yes.
So to be back on a bike, you know what I mean?
And just doing dumb shit. I mean, granted, what he was doing was nothing. I mean, it wasn't like they were doing crazy tricks that we would see like the SLS or some of the other stuff. But still, anytime you see something that had a former, potentially career-ending accident on a bike, you're just like, can you take it easy a little bit, just a little bit?
It's just not the way he's wired.
It's not the way he was wired, But yeah, I thought those two working. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, if anything, it just reaffirms the fact that we see people talk about Strickland as a training partner and can't do anything but heap praise on the dude. And when I think of a guy at the caliber at Johnny Eblin's level, like he's not just going to go work with a hack. He's not going to. I mean, like I think they challenge each other. I mean, there's definitely mutual respect. Sean, and again, this was another case where a guy that I'm like, damn, this guy, another legit guy, taking the time to work with this guy, so he obviously values what they're able to do.
Yep.
You just got to kind of put up with all the jawing and stuff like that. And unfortunately, you will get attached to some of that, and it's hard to dissuade it. And now it's hard to not think that if Hamzat people want to look at whatever, they're going to be looking at Eblin as one of his boys. Because when Sean says shit and he's just like, I'm not trying to do this, I'm just trying to, be a good partner or whatever. It's like, well, bro, you laughed at that joke, didn't you? And it's just like, So I have to think he's going to catch strays from it. But I will tell you, they got a little like, I mean, like, and I hate the fact that we, of course, run with those headlines and stuff. But when you do say, hey, if a guy comes up to me and he's with his team, I'm just going to pull my gun out. I'm going to shoot them. Like this is a stand your ground state. You can do those sort of things here. Not so much wherever this particular fight is going to happen. I don't know. Maybe you can. But
I don't think so. I think New Jersey's pretty strict.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But I mean, there are self-defense. But yeah, stand your ground is or no. Where we don't have to, like, we're here, like, where you are is your castle, say it's your car or whatever. You don't have to run.
Right.
In a lot of other places, you have to try to evade or whatever. Other places, they're like, no, It's not on you to run. You can defend yourself. But yeah, I mean, and again, just hearing those things, you certainly don't feel like I'm hearing, and Sean has always been real about that sort of stuff too. I've never seen an ounce of that makes me think like, oh yeah, he wouldn't just shoot a dude. If you and your boys come up on him, and if he's armed, he's going to shoot. Like, don't do it if that's what you need to hear, so you don't do dumb shit. But at the same sense, I mean, I think we've all said maybe of the lines like, if there was going to be a guy that shot somebody, it's going to be Strickland. And then to hear the comments yesterday, you're like, yep, there's that reaffirming that, it's certainly one of those things. So I certainly hope that the UFC keeps these dudes apart and both teams just realize that, hey, you're going to fight. Don't do any stupid extracurricular shit.
Well, I love what Dana, and I think they definitely will. And that the security team at the UFC is going to be made aware of those comments. And as you said, I don't think they're empty comments from Sean Strickland. I think he's being 100% honest. And look, I'm not trying to justify what he said, but he did say, look, if he wants to come up to me man to man and talk to me about something about what I said, that's one thing. But if he comes up to me with a crew full of his guys, I'm just shooting them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm not saying it's necessarily right what he's saying, but at the same time, like, if you're coming up and threatening me and I don't feel safe at this point, that's the reason I'm carrying this firearm right now. I don't feel safe, you know? So, but I think security will be aware of it. And I love what Dana said, which is spot on about this, is like, hey, he's already told Paramount, hey, none of that, like, let's get him in the octagon for a face-off. And I think people misinterpreted what was said. Like, I'm sure they will face off at the press conference. I'm sure they will face off at ceremonial weigh-ins. What he's saying is, we're not going to do that thing where we put him in the cage for 20 minutes while you shoot multiple shots and all that. We're not going to ask them to do that because these two can't be trusted around each other. And that's smart. That's somebody that understands the fight game versus, a TV producer just going like, yeah, but it'll be a great shut if we get this together. And you're like, no.
At press conference,
these are fighters.
There's going to be security out the yin-yang, not at your shoot, unless you're going to have like all that, and it's not the same. So, I completely agree with that. I mean, like, you don't need that for the promotion anyways. You don't need a fake, something that's going to be in a promo that's going to maybe get run before the shot, the show that nobody ever sees. But it takes 2 hours of their time where everybody's on pins and needles, biting their nails, wondering if something's going to explode. It's not worth it. It doesn't make any sense. You don't need it,
Just going to endanger people, and something could happen where you don't end up
just
having
risk
the fight.
Yeah, you risk the fight not being able to happen. So, I mean, I think they would understand.
I can't wait for that fight, man. I am super looking forward to that fight. And I'll say this, too, and I like, first of all, training with Johnny Eblen as a representative of Hamzat. Not bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think it's difficult to replicate what Hamzat brings to the cage, but in terms of just relentless, solid grappling, maybe not quite as dynamic, maybe not quite as aggressive with striking, but certainly I think that's a good representative to have in there. But I like the way Sean is talking about him being weak and being able to break him and that sort of thing. And I like that attitude from him, and I like that confidence because, I think about, you remember when Cyborg, when it was in her prime, and you would hear like opponents be like, well, I just have to remind myself, she's just, there would be opponents that would call her Chris or whatever. Like, she's not a machine. It's like you're just looking for something. You know what I mean? Like, no, she is damn near unbeatable right now. Like, you're just I don't think Sean is like trying to just find something so that he doesn't think that Hamza. Like, I think he believes like, I can break this dude, and if Sean's going to do it, that's what you have to do because Sean's not going to knock you out. Not that he. I mean. When he rocked Izzy, we were all a little bit shocked at that. You know what I mean? But it's not one-punch knockout power. It's relentless pressure breaking you. And he's saying, like, I think I can break this dude.
Yeah,
so.
And he's going to need to because he needs to wear him down. He needs to the only way he's going to knock out Hamzat is he needs to get Hamzat tired, which we've seen when people have gotten really, really tired. And he's gotten a little wobbly where some of those shots kind of do a little bit of damage. But if he can't wear him down, if he's constantly, where we saw Duplessis, then you never get a chance for it. He never gets tired. He literally could stay in that the whole time. If Sean's like that, he's not going to wear him down. He needs to keep Hamzat on the back foot and keep pushing him because if it goes the route of Duplessis' fight where Hamzat's constantly doing whatever, I don't think he has the power to take him down, or to knock him out. You have to wear him down and knock him out with punches and punches and punches and punches, and he's just not going to give that chance unless for some reason he decide to say, okay, Sean, let's keep this standing. It'd be better for me to knock you out as opposed to just completely dominate you, which I don't know which he'd rather. I think the fact if he was able to ride his back and dominate him, I think he might like that more because then he'd probably just talk shit in his ear the whole time. You know?
Yes, he would. Well, definitely looking forward to that fight. Probably the biggest fight, I don't know, like of the first part of the year or whatever. I mean, I don't know if it'll be the biggest fight by the end of the year. Obviously, we got a lot of big events coming up, but it's one that I'm definitely looking forward to, and it's definitely going to be full of tension, to say the least.
To
man.
say the least.
By the way, started a busy stretch for you too, man. You got kind of enjoying this week. I know you don't have to do the pay-per-view next week, right? You're not making the trip to New Jersey, but then you got the MVP card the week after that, and then the White House not too far after that.
Yeah, it's starting to heat up a little bit. I mean, it's crazy because I'm enjoying the fact that I don't have to do anything for this week, and then after the 328, we got the MVP card, and then another a little bit of week off, and then once it's June when it really gets the crazy stretch, because June we have 3 events in a row. It's Apex, White House, Apex, and then my birthday week off, and that's going to be a little while.
That's a whole week. That's a whole thing right there.
That's going to be a thing. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm wondering if I'm going to do a staycation or I might take myself somewhere.
Ooh, little staycation. Well, they're doing some nice deals at like Fountain Blue's. Got some really nice, maybe a little staycation at Fountain Blue.
I mean, that's how the Morgan staycation. I was thinking that might you just turn the computer off.
Oh, you mean just like stay in the house? Oh, I thought you meant. I actually
was looking at some of the campgrounds though. I was looking at Mount Charleston. Some of those I was actually thinking about maybe camping and stuff like that. But a lot of the campgrounds I like, the spots that are already reserved, like the good ones, I'm like, Urgh.
Really?
And then some of the other ones, they're first come, first serve.
Wow.
So you have to drive out to the thing and then see whether you can get them. Because normally the one I always want to get, it's at the very end. It's like the best spot. It's booked, and then the one next to it is pretty darn solid too. But that's first come, first serve.
So like, camping's not my strong point. You're right. Fountain Blue is one of my stops. But they are doing right now.
That's your glamping.
I think they're doing like I think they're doing like $125 a night for locals with no resort fee. No resort fee. And then I'm not saying I don't bring a suitcase full of snacks and alcohol with me.
I'd walk down the stairs and end up spending an arm and a leg.
So expensive.
I was like,
I can't do it. I can't do it.
But no, I mean, we would take a sponsorship for Fountain Blue to
my boy's just out here pitching today. Pitching.
But that month's gonna be a little wacky and stuff. So I'm ready for that one. But I'm gonna enjoy the fact that May, outside of the Rousey Carano, it's gonna be a pretty good one for me.
I like it. It's kind of this is kind of a. I feel like this was kind of I don't want to say an off week because there's a great card. But what are you playing? So I want to say. I'm very happy for the Australian folks.
It starts early, right?
So here's the deal. This one, if anybody hasn't noticed this Australia event is prime time Australia.
Yeah.
So they are getting an evening event.
Yes.
That means it's going to be very, very early for us. So typically, and you and I have made that trip down there many times, it's the way the time zones work is that they do it at the normal time in America. And what it does for the Australian audience is they get to see it first thing on Sunday morning.
Yep.
Now, the great thing about the Australian folks is 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, they drinking already. Yep. You know what I mean? The Fosters.
And they've been drinking for hours at that point already.
The Coopers are getting crushed. You know what I mean? Coops.
I don't even know if that's a good beer, but I like it.
We just drank a lot
I would love it. But I feel like when we drink it, I feel like we were getting judged.
Probably.
Like people are like, oh, yeah, they got Coops. I mean,
I
feel
was like
they
Australian PBR.
I feel like they're like, I respect that. I remember when I was a kid too, and I had Coopers where we're just like, this is cheap.
I remember my first OE. Like, yeah, 100%.
I remember walking down the street. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're getting judged by carrying this case of Coopers on our shoulder.
We had some good times on there. So I'm excited for the Australian folks because I do feel like they're pound for pound one of the best audiences in the world, right?
Easily.
I mean, just great, knowledgeable, enthusiastic, supporting their own, and they had to do that at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Now, there is something cool about getting your day started with fights, and then the fights are over, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can head to the pub from there or whatever else. But they're getting a prime time event, so I'm happy for them, and cool that works for Paramount Plus, that they're okay with it. But it does create a bit of a quandary for us here in the United States because I will be on the East Coast. I will be in Atlantic City.
So you have to get up really, really early.
Yeah, I'd have to get up super, super early. And to be honest with you, I probably won't just because I'm there working and I have to work that night. You know what I mean? So, like, if I get up, I'm not very good at, like, and then I'll just catch a quick nap and then I'll be recharged. And there's stuff going on and there's setup. So, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to have to watch this one on replay. Maybe I'll catch the top part of the card live, and then check everything else back on replay. But what's your plan? Because I believe here in Las Vegas,
like 1 a.m.
1 a.m. I believe for the prelims, and 4 a.m. I believe for the main card. So are you thinking roll all night?
I might just either roll all night, or I'll just take a little nap and then just get up and then just try to do. I'll probably end up. What'll happen is I'll try to watch the fights from the bed upstairs, which means I'll probably fall asleep.
You'll fall asleep. Yeah.
So if I try to watch it down here, I probably have a better chance of staying up. But I would
and then
probably
you fall asleep. It looks like an awful. I've never laid on that couch over there.
Comfy.
It's awfully comfortable. Looks pretty good.
So I'll probably take a nap and then just try to roll through it. And then luckily I don't have to do anything on Sunday, so I'll just be a piece of poo on Sunday and just be like half dead. But if I can make it all the way through, then I'll just take a nap in the morning after the events. Or I'll just try to bro, we've been on 15-hour flights and then go overseas and then try to stay up to the night to try to catch on that thing, because I never sleep on those flights. For me, it would feel like doing that again, where I would just, there's even a possibility that if I took a nap, make it through the event and it's daylight, sometimes it's hard to sleep.
You wouldn't sleep?
I would probably
when we would fly to Australia, you wouldn't sleep on the planes?
I'd always get tired right before, because I just couldn't sleep. Sometimes I'd feel bad that I'd start snoring and that I'd wake myself up. But then sometimes, so I would just sit there and I'd watch literally every movie that I wanted to watch, and then I'm like, now what do I do? We still got 5 hours. After 10 hours, I'm like, we still got 5 hours. But what would happen is I'm like, all right, maybe I'll take a little bit of nap. Or I was like, I can't really sleep. But literally right before I finally start getting tired, the lights go on for breakfast. And then you're just like, well, I guess I'm not sleeping on this one. And then you just stay up until the evening so you could try to get acclimated. That's my trick. If you can do it, whenever you travel to a place and say you get there in the morning and you're deadbeat tired, just stay up. Do not allow yourself to go to bed or take a nap during the day. You're going to be wrecked. But if you can get your second, third, or fourth win, make it to the evening, you're going to sleep like a log. You're going to be tired as all get out, and you might be cross-eyed and red-eyed. But it helps me to adjust to the time almost immediately.
Yep.
Then I'm just snapped out of it. And then then you get it on the way back. Then you got to fight it again on the way back. But that's how I usually deal with it. Because if I sleep on the plane, which I don't really do that often, on the way back, though, I have no problem sleeping. Because then I'm just so tired from the event. I don't care if y'all hear me snoring logs. I don't care if you don't have noise-canceling headphones at this point in time, you're behind.
In the year of our Lord 2026, that's on you at that point.
It's one thing if it was 10 years ago and only the rich folk had the Bose noise-canceling ones. If you don't have some sort of thing now, then it's your own fault.
Yep.
Because even with kids and other stuff, you're not going to sleep if you got some whiny kid next to you unless you have these. I'm louder than that whiny kid if I start snowing logs, so I will tell you.
Danny Rubenstein, one time, we were leaving Dublin. It was an Ireland event, and obviously, I think the night after the fight, we had an early morning flight out.
Yeah.
I think as I recall, I went out and kind of rolled in hot to the airport. I think I almost missed my flight, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty good about getting there on time. Me and you are the same. I'd rather be there early. You know what I mean? Not have to stress. But I think we'll call it falling asleep. If you want to say pass out, that might be your call. But I think I almost overslept. And then I didn't realize that in Dublin is one of those airports where you go through U.S. Screening there. And so anyway, I barely made it onto the flight.
That's why I almost missed my flight. Was Dublin? That's
Dublin,
funny.
same thing. Dublin will do it to you. But it's just so funny because you talk about the noise canceling headphones. Because this was 10 years ago or whatever. But I remember him saying that because I had been upgraded on that flight and he was upgraded too, so we were both in business class. I think we had the full the pods, the really nice one or whatever.
Nice.
But so I got in my plane and as soon as I sat down in my seat, I was out, right? And he just said he had his headphones on. And he was he saw people looking around, and he was saying that he had no idea because he had the noise kit. This is back then he was one of the early adapters of the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones.
Yes.
And he shared with me after the flight that people were looking around, and he was like, "What the hell's going on?" And he took his headphones off, and it was me because I was snoring so loud that everybody's like, "What is that, dude?"
That's why they give
you. I feel your pain.
Yes,
sir.
That's why they give you. Sometimes they'll give you the iPads, the eye mask things,
right,
and earplugs up in the first class because they're like, we can't control everything. I'm sorry, but no, that's funny.
And I believe flying back from Australia one time was the time where the flight attendants had to ask me and Forrest Griffin and Goldie to quiet down because we were on like one of the A380s that had the stand-up bar.
Okay, yeah.
And so we were like in the stand-up bar, like just drinking cocktails, and the three of us and our voices together. Yeah. I think Mr. Rogan was trying to sleep in the first class, and we were bothering him. So good times. Anyway, all right. So Australia. So I'm happy for Australia, and I believe that the atmosphere is going to be spectacular because it being a prime time event, a rarity for these guys, I think they are going to.
And in Perth, too. I mean, like Sydney gets a lot of love, I think more so than Perth does. So, it was always like to the Perth, it was like we had to fly down to Sydney, then you fly across to Perth, and that's another huge long
It's
flight.
Essentially, it's New York City to L.A.
Yeah,
it's New York City to
really
L.A.
long. But the Australian crowd, they don't give a care, man. They go to these events and they're just mad, just crazy. But yeah, it should be absolutely bonkers. I know we have a bunch of friends that are down in the Australia. They're going to be there wild and crazy. That's the only thing I miss about not going over there because we used to see some that we were like honorary Australians. They always took so good care of us over there.
We did, man. I love that country, man. It's a great place. There's some great people down there. All right, let's talk about the fights themselves because the main event is spectacular. I was kind of looking at this card earlier. It's really interesting the way the card's laid out because you basically got this incredibly impactful main event. Then you've got a situation with a whole bunch of fighters that are like in desperate need of a positive result. And then you got down at the beginning of the card, you got like a lot of just prospects coming off contender series, coming off whatever. So I really like what's on here. I think there's a lot of stakes in these fights, but nothing more than Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. Essentially, I think probably a number one contender fight, especially for Carlos Prates. Obviously, I guess for Jack Della Maddalena, would he be victorious here? I think it would probably kind of have to look at what happens with Islam Makhachev, right? Like, I don't think if Jack wins here, no disrespect, I don't think you immediately rebook him in a rematch with Islam because that fight wasn't competitive. And I don't think I'm saying anything insulting there. I saw actually an interview with Jack where I think he was speaking with UFC.com, and even he kind of said, like, man, I'm not proud of what happened last time. So I don't know that's a number one contender fight for him, but it is important, right? Because, dude, he had all the hype in the world, and, like, this is the guy.
Yep.
And then he goes out there against Islam, and Islam's Islam, and that thing didn't go very well.
No, did not go at all.
That derailed him, right?
Yep.
So now it's like, do you get back on track, and do you show that, hey, I'm still that guy that everybody was getting behind and that everybody loved, and I'm still deserving that hype? I don't think you're getting like I said, I don't think you're getting a title shot out of it, but at least it keeps you relevant, it keeps you in the conversation. And should Islam lose when he defends the title later this year, or should he retire or move up or whatever he does, then that clears the path for you, right? So it's still a big, impactful performance. And then meanwhile, for Carlos Prates, I think potentially a number one contender fight here. I think he could get a title shot. Number one, I mean, obviously he does have the loss to Ian Machado Gary. It looks like Ian Machado Gary is going to be facing Islam later this year, so that kind of cancels out. And then plus, just the style that he brings, like his style is fan friendly, and he's got the X factor, right? Like he's cool. Like people just like his personality. He's out there, smoking the cigarettes and doing what he does. But he stands out from the rest of the pack. So to me, he checks all the boxes of this is somebody the UFC would want to get behind and maybe give him a title shot, even if he's not the only number one contender or only person that has a shot or a case, I should say, at getting the title shot. So I love this fight. Man, I've gone back and forth on it. I've talked to several people that are back and forth on it. Ultimately, though, I'm leaning Carlos Prates. Which way
I can't remember which way I went on work. I think I was feeling Prates, but I think I maybe went JDM. But I don't feel like I did. But I've been so high on Prates for so long that I'd be surprised I didn't. I was literally, while you were chatting, I was trying to go back and find my sent email that I sent to the staff picks. Now I'm wondering if I actually
because you were so back and forth, you wouldn't even remember which way you went.
Yeah, I did feel like it wasn't as strong because I think I would start telling myself that, that it's so hard to, when you're dominated, kind of how that last fight went for JDM, you just kind of wonder how quickly do you rebound from that? How quickly do you,
Agreed.
But it's like, man, when we saw what he was able to do and go through, folks, like, it's not like he's completely starting from square one again,
right.
Like that's not the case. And same with Prates. I mean, at one point I was like, I would have been like, no, man, the way that team's going, they can't lose. They're on a high. You just go. And then you see him lose too, So I was just sort of like in my head way too much and wondering who's going to carry it. So, I mean, if anything, you got to think that, the distance that it's going to take for Prates to get over there had to weigh into it a little bit. For JDM, it's, more of a home game. But man, even now as I think of it right now, there's part of me that wants to just say, Prutches, and then another part of me that's like, no, I bet you went JDM. I'm a pick, but I can't remember which one I did. Last week was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think I got one pick right.
Wow.
Total out of like 4 or 5. It was brutal.
I mean, you can't win every year, right?
Can't win every year, but I can't lose to Danny, man. Danny's crushing it right now.
Danny Segura's in the lead right now?
Like by 7 or 8 or something.
7 or 8 in front of everybody else. That's a huge lead.
It's huge. It might be more. So like,
good on Danny.
Yeah, somebody's got to knock him off the top, man. I can't lose to Danny.
Wow.
I mean, I can lose. He can be in a higher position. I just don't want him to be the champ. Even though I think he would be a first-time champ.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's another part of me that's like there's no second champs yet. There's no repeats out of me. So I'm like, okay, Danny can win because then there again it gives another year of not another 2-time champion. So I'm like, okay, maybe Danny can win.
That's what I'm saying. Like, spread it around and show how difficult it is to repeat once.
And to be the current repeat.
Much less to repeat as many times as you have. That is unbelievable. 7 or 8. That's big.
It's a big one.
Hardly anybody ever used to get to that big of a lead.
No, yeah, and it's tough. And he's done really well. Like the last week, where I think he did pretty decent and was able to hold his lead. Where I faltered. I was like, I just drop. He had some pretty good picks last week. So, but yeah, I'm torn as we speak it right now. I feel like I might even change my mind once I see him on the weigh-in scale. That's one of the best things about being there on the side, and we've said this before, when we see him in the weigh-in day, when we see him on the media day, like all that stuff, you get to look at how they look. We see him on the media day, and you might say, okay, well, that's not weigh-in day. They're still cutting weight, but that's a big sign when you can see if they're struggling up there and they're just, the sunken in eyes. You're like, oh, bro, like you, as much as you try to put some weight back on, like you're really hurting your body. You're never quite the same on fight night, and as much as you try to psych yourself up. In fact, I was talking to the commission today. I know this is jumping off in a tangent, but we were talking about Myra Bueno Silva and some of the other ones, like that how just the weight cut is so hard and how it affects them. So if you go back to this last event and you watched her, she was up on the scale like crying. I know she had a lot of stuff that she was going through. I mean, they just announced that her and her partner are pregnant, and there's all this other stuff. She had a lot of pressure for this fight coming in, but how hard that weight cut is, and then she's up there just bawling, and then going in there and fighting a what seemed like a very bigger opponent, even though she, technically wasn't that much heavier or taller. But she was just sort of like pushed around a little bit, and you have to think about how bad that weigh-in sort of like depletes them.
Yeah.
So us being on the site, looking at the media day and looking on the weigh-in, I have a much clearer image of how they feel, and that's what's kind of helped. So when I look at these guys, all we have is, the past stats, the past little fights, but then you're like, gosh, how do they look like now?
I know.
So like, depending on how we see in these videos, but again, it's like, we sort of set the ability that if Friday in the weigh-in you can send a hey, can I change my pick, and this is the reason why. So maybe if you see him,
I think that was always the rule, right? You just had to at least give an explanation as to why. It had to be a reasonable justification why you're changing.
And it had to be like on the record. Like don't just have me be like, oh well, he reached out to me afterwards and changed his mind.
Everybody's got to see it.
Everybody's got to see it.
And it could, and you were allowed to just be like, I don't know, it's just something in my gut. You could say that.
Yeah,
you could
say that. It didn't have
that.
to be a real reason. You
just
had
to be
state
on record.
a reason. It had to be on the record. So. Again, as we talk about it right now, man, I am still really torn between these two. I don't have a clear front runner in my mind, as I feel like I just go back and forth, and I just need to see how they look on Friday, and I would probably give a different answer.
Well, it's funny too, because we always joke. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, a fight, you break down the X's and O's, but you always do break down the intangibles, right? And one of the intangibles is Jack Della Maddalena is from Perth. He's fighting in his hometown. Is fired up, right? But
there's pros and cons to that as well.
Well, that's true. There are pros and cons to that, but I counter that with, have you seen all this backstory with Carlos Prates? Like, his daughter actually lives in Australia, so he only gets to see her so very many times. So he gets to see his daughter, and his mom is going to be there at the fight, so she's going to get to meet the granddaughter for the first time, and like, it's going to be in it. So it's like, all
what he's willing to fight and give
right?
up in there.
So like all that
bro.
little extra percentage again. It doesn't
Like,
mean that
hearing that story makes me lean more. I'm like,
right?
I'm kind of leaning towards
because if you're
now.
like I always say, like if you're a terrible fighter and you're facing a great fighter and you're fighting at home, well, just because the fact that you're fighting at home, that doesn't mean anything. But if you're both at a 99, maybe that gets you to 100 because you're fighting at home. But Carlos can counter that with this whole family background and all that. So I don't know. And I guess the thing that I think really leans me towards Carlos is just I feel like Carlos has that ability to, like, maybe he loses 2 rounds, maybe he loses 3 rounds, maybe he loses 4 rounds, but he's still going to be able to catch you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like whereas I feel like Jack Della Maddalena has to execute. Not that he doesn't finish fights, he does, but I don't think he's quite as dangerous. I hate to say that because he's got his share of finishes too. But I don't know. I just feel like the danger factor is higher with Carlos, and so he only has to win a moment of the fight.
Yep.
So that's the way I'm leaning, but it's going to be a great one. Everything that I'm hearing is Islam and Ian Machado Gary in Philadelphia. That's everything that I hear. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's what I feel they're leaning towards, and I guess you would see how this plays out, see how that plays out, and maybe get a title shot out of this. Meanwhile, I said that kind of next section is people that really need a result. Beneil Dariush, obviously, I'll be honest with you, I don't love this matchmaking. I respect Beneil Dariush for being willing to fight anybody, but Quillen Sawkid looks like a danger. See the commercial they did with him, by the way, around the UFC offices? They had him like doing all this different stuff. They were like featuring him and had him like delivering mail and all that kind of stuff, wanting to see Dana. And I thought that was kind of clever, just to put everybody saying, let's do a little something extra, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like they were doing something. That was cool.
Yep.
Love Beneil Dariush. I say this, like, I feel like all the time we start talking about people and be like, oh, that guy's the nicest guy. Oh, that guy's the nicest guy. This guy's the nicest. Beneil Dariush might be the nicest human being on the planet. But, man, he's suffered some tough losses, and now they put him up against this young killer.
It's going to be a tough one.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Did you go Quillen in that one?
Yeah.
I hate to pick against Beneil.
Man, the more I feel about it, I'm like, did I turn my picks in?
You're like, you don't even know if you turned it in.
I'm like,
it's still Wednesday. Normally when we talk, it's Thursday. Normally it's a day later.
I have to turn it in tomorrow, and so
you haven't turned it in yet.
I feel like I did, but I'm like, why do I not know who I picked out of this off the top of my head? I'm picking Quillen for sure, but I'm like, I don't really know if I did it. I feel like I did. But yes, I'm leaning Quillen on it. But yeah, no, I'm literally sitting here stressing.
Could it be hard for you to catch up if you don't turn any picks in?
And you went 6 more behind. Like,
and
I'm just giving myself a challenge. I'm trying to make it a challenge.
I don't think it ever really happened because I think we were all pretty good about sitting in our picks. But wasn't Matt Erickson's thing? Because Matt Erickson still tracks him, right? That's always been his thing.
Yeah.
I think he was like, if you don't turn in your picks, I automatically give you all the underdogs. Yeah, you automatically get all the underdogs.
I don't know. I think that's his threat, but I've seen some of the dudes really push it this year, and he hasn't done that. But I think it's his way of just saying, like, guys, it's not that hard to get me your picks in time. I give you this a week.
Because it's not easy. Like, the way that obviously it's been years since I've been since I see the website, so your operating system may be totally different. But I remember
the format's changed up a little bit, but it's still
it wasn't like something that was like a plug-in that the website made easy. Like, he had to custom build everything. I think he had to go into like Photoshop and framing.
And it's changed now. Now there's no pictures. It's just literally the name and then the records and stuff like that. So I think the format's a little bit easier
for him.
But it's still a matter of like he's got other obligations. It's not like hey, I'll just wait to get to this. I don't need to publish this until you finally get around to give me that. He's like, guys, give me this shit so I can get this set so I can move on to other stuff. But there's been a few times. But yeah, the threat was always there. Like, I'll give you the underdogs. Which in MMA, he might do you a favor sometimes. He might do you a favor because you never know. I mean, I bet there's some guys out there that maybe they don't bet every fight, but if you try to parlay, always just picking the favorites, bro, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's always something that breaks it. Some underdog picks it out. So maybe out of the 4 or 5 underdogs he gave you, 1 or 2 might hit. So it's better than 0. Better than just not putting a pick in for you.
This is the truth.
But I'll have to double check that in a second. And we might have a little visitor in a second. We'll have to take a little break. I promised yesterday, remember when we used to for a while when we did like those media days and pressers, me and you always brought our stands with us.
Right.
You know, so the UFC does theirs. Koss is in charge of taking the stand with him on this one, but the stand is big. It's bigger than the ones that we used to have to do, and so he was going to try to just put it in the just carry it on. And I even asked some of the other carriers. I was like, I don't think they're going to let you, because I mean that looks like just a giant metal pole. Like they might think you can hit somebody with it. So I told him he could take one of my tripod cases and stuff. So he said he was going to swing over.
Look at that.
I told him we were taping. He's like, "Can we leave it outside?" I was like, "We have to stop the taping at some point to do that." I was like, "Just come and we'll just stop the taping." So we'll see. So we might. Is
he flying to Perth?
No. Tomorrow it's in L.A.
Oh,
Hamzat open
the
workout.
Hamzat
open workout.
Look at that. Pitching in for the team.
You know, that's what we do.
That's true, though.
That's what we do. But no, I mean, because I feel for anybody that has to travel with gear, let alone, I mean, like, we work with these people day in, day out, you know, so like we all sort of like suffer through the same like travel stuff. But it's like if you can give a little bit of like help or experience, you know, what somebody has do normally. If it's for an event, all that stuff gets put on the truck. It gets put in a knack box, and they don't have to think about it. But when you're just saying, hey, we got a media day and so, you got to fly out, whatever. The fact that I love that they provide these things because it used to be us carrying them with us so that we could have them. So the fact that they're doing it, but this is not a traditional one where I think last year when we did the Hamzat one there, some of the team drove out there. Mm-hmm. And so they were able to put stuff in. But since they're flying out there for this one, he had to carry stuff. So I was like, I got you. Come by the house. I thought they were going to hook him up with the thing. And I was like, well, if they can't get you sorted, I was like, give me a call. So he might be popping over here in a little bit. But it's funny. He's like, just leave it out front so I don't have to interrupt you guys. I was like, well, I still have to have a time to stop to do that. I was like, just come, and then we'll stop if we're still taping.
Love to say a little Koss. Legend of the game. Of the game. We could take a little break for him, no problem. You know what? And it's appropriate because that mic stand, the mic stand, the idea, the concept for the mic stand was born in Australia because we were doing a media day. It was one of these like community events, and I can't remember where it was. I want to say Brisbane.
Oh yes,
maybe somewhere else
at the soccer club.
Yeah, it was. Was it soccer or was it like rugby club? Rugby club. Right? And we go to do our little scrum, and this rugby PR person comes out and just sets this little mic stand. It was kind of if I remember right, it almost felt like a homemade type contraption or whatever. Like it didn't look like a commercial product, and everybody just started.
Obviously, it wasn't made in America,
right?
You know,
you could tell the craftsmanship was not. No, but it felt like it looked like something that had kind of been like handcrafted versus produced, and so everybody just dropped their microphones in there. And that was back in the day when all of us would stand there and hold our microphones out. And then you'd have to switch hands because your arm was getting tired. And then you were worried about bumping your own tripod while you were doing it. And I was like, somebody has to make this.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think it was on B&H maybe. I found it.
Yeah,
and so you know what? And then we carried it everywhere, and now the UFC has their own. That is the hit. If you've ever wondered what, and I doubt any of you ever have, but if you've ever wondered what the history of the mic stand at UFC events goes, that's it.
That's it.
So should we take a preventative pause now?
A what?
Should we take a preventative pause because we're expecting Koss to show up?
Why not? Why not? Then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up.
Perfect. And preventative break is done. We are back just like that. Amazing. Technology is incredible. We don't do much editing, but we can stitch some stuff together every now and then if necessary.
That's about it.
That's about it. I have to clip a two-file together. So anyway, all right. Well, there's your contribution to the. So even though you will not be physically at the Hamzat Shemaiah Media Day, you will be there in spirit.
In spirit.
And let everyone know that is at the Hamzat Shemaiah Media Day. The audio quality would not be at the level that it is without Cold Coffee.
That's it.
Ken Hathaway.
Doing my part.
All right, listen, the rest of this card, I am intrigued as well by Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. Tim Elliott, obviously, I think is just I just love the guy, man. He's just such a unique character as a person and as a fighter.
Yep.
And then Steve Erceg is had this wild ride to the top and then some setbacks and all that. So that's a big flyweight fight. I love that. And then some big heavyweight fights as well, including This Ty's got to get Tai Tuivasa has got to get a win here, right? I mean, this is like I hate to because I've seen people say this for a long time. Like it's 6 straight losses at this point. You can't deny it. It's 6 straight losses, and I feel like every time he's had a loss, I see people, and granted, people are kind of jackasses on the internet a lot of times, but they're like, hey, are they going to cut this guy? Are they going to cut this guy? Are they going to cut this guy? And I've kind of always said that. I think he has a much longer leash than most people because of the personality, the fighting style, everything that he has.
Yep.
But this probably is kind of like must-win type situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like his personality and what he brings and what he's going to do out there. I mean, it'd be one thing if he just was a big body rolling around out there, but dude goes out in his shield or he takes somebody out. But yeah, when you go back to the fact that his last win was in 2022, it's hard to. At some point, you got to think Again, if they were clamoring for spots on the heavyweight and they needed to make room, maybe this wouldn't be a discussion.
Right. But I mean, there's 30 total heavyweights on the roster.
They need heavyweight, so it's a little bit different than, say, like a bantamweight division or another division where there's a lot more bodies. But again, then you put that in there coupled with his personality and how fun he makes fight week, his fight style, what you're going to get, and then just the random-ass shoeies and just everything else about him that just makes him so unique. It seemed like it was a no-brainer for him to be there. But yeah, if anything else, it makes a perfect scenario that if it didn't go his way, I mean, what a great place to I guess have one of your last UFC events, kind of down over there. So, but hopefully that's not the case. But again, if there's ever a guy that can kind of keep pushing it, I think it's Ty. I would hate this to be the one, but yeah, when you look at just going on Tapologist, a whole lot of red.
It's a lot of red
filling up on that page. But you had to go back. His last win was Derek Lewis, 2022, February 2022. That's crazy. I didn't almost remember that.
Crazy, man.
Yeah,
and I feel bad. I guess it's the way every fight goes. But like, I feel bad because like Louis Sutherland is a guy that also, kind of took the long road to get to the UFC, had a little cup of coffee at Bellator, a little cup of coffee at PFL. He's 0-2, so it's like, this guy just wants to get his first UFC win so bad. He's stepping in here on short notice as a replacement. So it's like, I never want to cheer against somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same way. Like I really would love to see Beneil Dariush win. Like I feel bad for Louis Sutherland, but I just feel like, if Ty doesn't win, I don't know if they can keep doing it.
Yeah, you want to see Ty stick around, and I mean, like you said, you never want to be rooting against him, and I don't think you're rooting against him by any means. But there's those personalities that are always fun and that you want to stay in the UFC, and I think it'd be hard pressed to find somebody outside of just the haters that want to obviously hate. Like they feel it's their job to gatekeep the division. Oh, there's too many losses. He needs to go. In a division that most people are like, they can't remember half the heavyweights to begin with. Why get rid of the guy that at least
one of the personalities
that brings you something? So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, 3 has been like the golden rule forever, and then those that were able to push it to 4 or more were already like a unicorn.
Yes.
So the fact of where he's on 6 fights. It's unprecedented.
Agreed.
So I could see where somebody's maybe like, guys, I don't understand, but again, it's Ty. Like, it's just Ty, bro. Like, it's okay.
It's gonna be fun.
It'll be fine.
It's funny because one of the things I've always preached in my life as a journalist and honestly just life in general, but especially as somebody if you're speaking and doing interviews, so I always say, don't say something that you wouldn't be willing to say to somebody's face, right? Like, it's okay to criticize somebody's game plan or criticize whatever if you would be willing to say it to somebody's face. So I was thinking right now, like as you were talking about that, I was thinking about what I would be saying to Louis Sutherland, and I was like, it's not that I want you to lose; it's just that I want the other guy to win. You know what I mean? Like can you
I
justify
don't want you to
that?
lose, and I don't want Ty to lose either. I just want one to win. Or
maybe a draw.
There you
Can
go.
we have a draw?
You're like, bro, we're just rooting for a draw.
I just hope everybody has fun.
Yes, and everybody's safe. Everybody's safe. But yeah, and I mean, this is, good on him. I mean, like, he wants a UFC win. Speaking of Sutherland, I mean, like, he's had 2 shots at it. Again, this is for a guy like him. This could be the end.
Yep.
You get 3 losses, just like we were saying, this kind of thing. So nobody wants anybody to lose, especially when there's the stakes that you could be cut from the UFC, and that could be very real for both gentlemen here.
I think somebody else facing that probably is Gerald Meerschaert as well, and I like Gerald Meerschaert, and I think this is a tough. That's why this card, like I said, you've got this amazing main event, then you've got like all these guys that I think need a result so bad. Gerald Meerschaert, I don't love the matchup for him against Jacob Malkoun either, and Gerald has been around forever. ever, man. I mean,
Yep.
the record that he had, 37-21. Like, you just
It's
don't
bonkers.
you don't see that anymore. You
It's
know what I
crazy.
mean? Like,
That's crazy.
It's incredible, guys that stay that busy and have that many fights. But he's obviously had a lot of setbacks lately, and he's getting up there at 38 years old, and he's usually he's the lesser of the athletes when he gets in there, right? Like, he's kind of a gritty, grimy, blue collar kind of thing, and I think he's in desperate need of a result here as well. Or
100%.
That could be
It's
the end for him as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you're saying, like, when you go down this card, you look at some of the guys and what they've contributed to the sport. It might not be the biggest fight card overall in paper, but when you go through and you pick through and look at the guys that are on this fight and what they've done for the sport, and let alone done for the region, where some of these guys, especially look at Malkoun, you look at Tafa, Tuivasa, guys are very, very important, and just recently have been like the face of that area over there. So, and then you see that in like Gerald, I mean, like, this card has a lot of really, really good fights built into it. It's just gonna be tough. Like, we got to stay up in the middle of the night to watch it. but no, it's gonna be a fun card. I mean, and it's it should be a banger right from the get go. I mean, even you look at where it's starting with
Cody Steele and Don Marfan. That's a fight right there. I'm just as funny because that's the one thing. Because I want to point out, you got Timba Garimbo on there. I like that. But that's Kobe Thickness versus Vince Morales. I love that fight. But fight number one, Cody Steele versus Don Marfan. That's a banger.
Yeah, it's starting the night really, really strong. Like, it's such a good fight. So yeah, I mean, like, thank goodness, because I mean, like, we're gonna need shots of like adrenaline as the night goes on. And this is funny because we've been so spoiled in the States, and like everything kind of works around our schedule. This is one where. This one will hurt a little bit more so.
This is like the Europeans. The Europeans that I've always saluted to. Yeah. Like, if you're a hardcore MMA fan in the UK or Europe, I salute you, because I don't know how you became a hardcore fan having to do basically this.
How you explain to your significant others why you're up in the middle of the night and what are you watching? Like, are you coming back to bed? No, honey, it's just getting started.
God, this is my jam right here. It's 3 a.m. This is my thing, bro. I took a nap earlier. I got all my chores done. Now I'm hanging out watching fights at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I much respect everybody for doing that. So
yeah, this could be fun. It's gonna be a fun card.
I dig it. All right, listen. I'll give one quick preview to anybody. If you do stay up or watch everything live, and then you're sitting around Saturday night and you're like, I don't have any MMA to watch. I already watched my MMA for the day. I already watched UFC Perth. Now, what do I do? Because I don't do anything other than watch MMA.
Yep.
We got you covered at CFFC. We got you covered. It is CFFC NextGen 3, so this is our third full Next Generation series. We've always kind of run that alongside our professional bouts as well. This is the third time that we're doing this. It is at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Atlantic City, so if you're in Atlantic City, there are still some tickets available. Limited tickets, but they are available. It's a cool venue. It's at Soundwave, so normally we do basically what used to be the Taj Mahal, where the UFC was. That's the big room that we do for our pro events. But for these next gen events, we do it in this smaller theater on the other side of the property. But because it's like a cool little theater, everything's kind of right on top of the action. It's got a really, really cool vibe in there. 3 titles on the line, so 3 very high level next gen fights, and obviously great talent. James Lyons, Jake Noaker, they do a lot of the matchmaking for the Next Generation series, and they find a lot of talent from around the area. We've got some people flying in from out of town and obviously all over the area, so not just New Jersey locals or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania locals. We got some from all over the region, so really, really good stuff. Onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA. I always tell people, if you're a judgy person and you're worried about OnlyFans, I am not. I'm all for it. But if you're like, I just don't want to sign up. That kind of content that's on there is not for me. Don't worry. You won't see anything other than what you sign up for. So if you come to our page, onlyfans.com/CFFC MMA, that is all you'll have is the CFFC MMA content. So
there you go.
Come check it out. We'll be enjoying it. Myself and Frank Wells, multiple times CFFC vet on the mic with me.
Look at that.
Yeah. He's returning to have some fun with this. So did make it official, by the way, that Josh Thompson will also be making his return on May 29th. So we've got 2 events coming up this month. Technically, I know it's the end of April, but May 2nd is the date of this first event, and then May 29th is our big event at Liberty Hill. That's the one that's outdoors. That's the one that I was looking for the canvas this morning for, and what brought me to that adventure. But Josh Thompson is actually returning to be on the mic for that. So the Punk is quickly becoming part of the CFFC family, along with great guys like Michael Chiesa, Dean Thomas, Michelle Watterson, CM Punk. We can't wait to have CM Punk back.
Right.
But his WWE career is going quite well for him right now. So him and his wife are awfully busy doing the professional wrestling thing. But we'll have him back eventually, I promise. We still stay in touch with old Punk. So now we don't have CM Punk. We got Josh the Punk Thompson.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
It works out. Anyway, all right, listen. I got to go pack. I'm taking a red eye out to Atlantic City tonight. Philadelphia, actually, and then making the drive in from Atlantic City. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to let you get back to it. Thanks for joining me early in the week. Now we don't have to scramble while I'm in Atlantic City. You know how whack my schedule gets. And I appreciate all your patience along the way where I'm like.
Much better this way.
Where I'm like, hey, cold coffee. Maybe noon. And then about 10 a.m., I'm like, yo, maybe 3 p.m. And
today's not going to work.
It's not going to work today. Tomorrow, though, will be great. Tomorrow will be great.
Yeah.
No, that didn't work either.
No.
How about we get.
Yeah. No, this is good.
We keep the streak alive. Thank you, Cold Coffee. For everybody else, thanks for listening.